That's right. You know it's the Joes. Back again. Another week. Fantasy Thunder. I'm your host, Oli, along with my main man on the mic, Dave. No, Tonio Allen. What's going on, Dave?
Hey, how's it going, people? How's everybody doing?
Man, I'm doing excellent this evening. Man, how was your Thanksgiving?
Fantastic.
Man,
Absolutely fantastic. Got to see the family, got some
yeah.
good football. Besides the Cowboys winning, it was a good day.
But does that ruin the whole festivity for you? Is it Cowboys win?
It was able to ruin a good portion. A lot of we were happy, and my uncles and my dad, we were all kind of just like, "Are you kidding?" We had to completely turn the game off. Do a little.
Yeah, you got to reset. Yeah, you got to reset and get
exactly.
yourself back in the mood. I got you. Absolutely. Well, I had a pretty decent Thanksgiving overall. A lot of traveling, seeing some family. And I'm still eating Thanksgiving leftovers. I'm not ashamed. I don't care. I will. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'll eat them till they're all gone. I mean, at a certain point. I mean, how long is too long? I'm thinking I can eat these till Wednesday or Thursday as long as it's refrigerated and fresh. I mean, but how long in your mind is too long for leftovers from Thanksgiving?
Oh, I'm on the same right there till about Wednesday.
Yeah.
About a week, and maybe switch it up a little bit. But it's,
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes the leftovers taste better.
Hey, you want to warm them
a
up?
couple days after.
Yeah. We got a honey baked ham, and there was a whole lot left over. Let's take it home, man. I'm killing the honey baked ham. I don't care. I only get that one time a year. Yeah, all day. Absolutely. Anyhow, folks, we want to thank everyone for coming back and visiting with us once again. We appreciate your support. It means the world to us. I again want to thank those behind the scenes getting the word out, letting people know about the show. Again, we're going to continue to be here for you guys. We may have some augmented schedules with the holidays, things of that nature, but continue to come back and check in with us. We will be here with the free content. And we want to thank everybody who supported this week. We had a swelling of views this week on the videos. We certainly do appreciate it. Whatever's going on, we're going to keep it going. And take a moment and like the video. Please subscribe and comment, be interactive with us. You can leave comments here on YouTube, on Instagram. It's the Average Joe's Fantasy Football podcast, underscore between each word there on Instagram. And on Facebook, we're also there, the Average Joe's Fantasy Football podcast. So visit us on those forums. We will be there to answer start-sit questions or whatever questions you guys have. And I mentioned last week, Dave, that our Instagram following is growing, and we're becoming pretty strong there. So we're going to keep that going as well. I've seen you on there a few times, so you guys can come visit us on there if you want to ask Dave or I a question. Absolutely. With that having been said, I've been looking for someone to answer the question of the week. I've been getting some positive feedback about the videos. Thank you guys for leaving those comments. We certainly do appreciate it. But we haven't gotten a correct answer just yet. So please come back. And matter of fact, Dave, go ahead and if you have it there with you, let's go ahead and do that question of the week again. We're going to run the same question of the week, and we're hoping someone comes and answers it so they can go ahead and pick the intro music for our next video.
Yeah, absolutely. The question was of the top 5 defenses last year. There's only one team that is still a top 5 defense this year currently, and this is in fantasy points, so I don't want that to get confused with top 5 defense and just NFL statistics because they can be different as far as turnovers and things of that nature.
Fantasy scoring points.
Fantasy points.
Right. Fantasy scoring points. Top 5 defense from last year. Still one of the only top 5 defenses from this year. There is a holdover, and we are looking for that answer, and then you will be able to pick whatever music you would like for our intro, again, as long as it's not profane or doesn't have anything offensive in it. So please answer that question. We'll be looking forward to it. Outside of that, man, how was your fantasy week? Outside of the, obviously Thanksgiving, how's your fantasy week shaping up?
It's been
okay.
Interesting. I will say, 2 of my leagues. One league, it's a 120-man league. I think it's like 10 divisions with 12 people, or 12 with 10, something like that. But anyway, out of the 120, the top 24 made it, and I was lucky enough to make it.
Okay.
We had our first week of playoffs this week. So unfortunately, a lot of teams that had Chiefs and Rams players didn't get to play them, but they knew that going in. I was able to move on, and then my home league, we start our playoffs next week, and I will be in there. I think I got the 3rd seed. So yeah, it's looking good. And the league we're in, I think I'm on a 4 or 5 game winning streak, so I don't have to put it up quite yet.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get into those playoffs.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, man, keep pushing. Absolutely. I've had a pretty good week this week as well. Quite honestly, this is one of the first weeks where redraft and dynasty went overall pretty good. In one of the leagues that we're in together, though, and we'll talk about this a little bit more later on, but I put myself in a position to have to rely on Tajay Sharp this evening for the Titans. You're kind of hoping against hope here, because every 3 or 4 games he does okay, but I need 17 points from this evening, and we're gonna talk about why here in just a little bit. Kind of got under my skin just a little bit here, but hopefully I'll be able to put that Thanos GIF back up for you guys after this evening. We'll see. If not, I'm still doing pretty well in that league. I'll be 9-3, and if I do lose, so I'm not feeling too bad about it. But just wish some other things were clearer, and I would have won my week. But we'll talk about that later on. But anyhow, good. I'm glad to hear things are going well. We've got a big show for you guys this evening. Man, a ton of things are happening around the league right now. A ton of updates for you guys. A lot of injuries. We're going to talk about a few of those here this evening. We're going to do a Week 12 review. We're going to do a Thursday night preview. What the heck segment for you guys, and a quick waiver wire segment as well. So let's go ahead and jump into the game. The games from last week. Now, we skipped Philadelphia last week because it was so embarrassing. I didn't want you to have to cry on there. But we're going to talk about them this week, man. There was a near upset. The Giants almost pulled it out against you guys. But you know what? One thing I will say is I applaud Peterson for finally sticking with a running back. I kind of wish it was Smallwood, but even still, Adams looked really good.
Right, yeah. Yeah, Doug's able to kind of give us some clarity, unlike some other coaches in the NFL. But yeah, we were able to see an emergence out of the backfield. I think that moving forward, you can one would hope that moving forward we won't go back and start seeing these splits. Right. I think I saw Doug said even after this last game that they want to continue to give Josh more carries each week. So you can feel confident moving forward that Josh Adams is going to be the guy in that backfield.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it looks like, for those of us who are holding out hope for Wendell Smallwood, that he's completely disappeared. Even though he's looked good at times, I don't think he's going to be fantasy relevant. Are you comfortable dropping Wendell Smallwood at this point in time?
Yeah. Definitely. I think even when he was playing well, and a lot of us were jumping on and trying to get him or Clement, you could just tell. We spoke about it on here. You could just see that regardless of what the fans saw, the coaching staff was more behind Clement from the first place. I think they were finding any reason to get Smallwood out of there. So yeah, you can drop Smallwood.
Yeah, absolutely. And another off day kind of for Wentz here. Last couple of weeks, he was seemingly coming on this year, and then the last couple of weeks, this hasn't quite looked like the MVP kind of the candidate we've seen out of him last year. What's going on with Wentz this year, man? What's going on with him the last couple of games?
Yeah, these last couple of games have been a little difficult. I don't know if it's the coaching staff changing some things up as far as trying to incorporate Golden Tate, also trying to find a running back out of the backfield. I don't know if they've just got a lot of stuff going on and Carson Wentz trying to stay up to speed. The one consistent factor that we have seen is despite the Saints, but Zach Ertz is still going to be the go-to guy there. And I don't, the O-line's having their troubles, but they've been having their troubles all year, and Carson Wentz has not been playing this poorly, so I don't want to say it's on that. So, it just looks that they're just trying to figure things out all together, offense and just as an entire team, just trying to figure things out. But I wouldn't lose hope for those guys that are still trying to start Carson Wentz. Don't lose hope yet. The Eagles' upcoming schedule isn't great, but it's not terrible as far as defenses go. So I think you can still feel comfortable rolling him out there.
Okay. All right. Absolutely. Golden Tate. I do want to talk about him for just a moment. Obviously, he came in via trade. I think this is the third week with the team. We haven't quite gotten a whole lot out of him, but what we are seeing out of Golden Tate here is a ton of targets. He tied with Ertz for the team in targets. Is this something that we can expect going forward? I mean, I'll jump on 8 targets a game. I'm sorry, I'll take that. The opportunity that's there for him. Do you think he continues to do this, or is it something that's going to tail off, or what are you thinking there?
You know, if I want to say, I hope that's what's going forward. After the coach came out before last week, offensive coordinator, and said it was difficult to get Golden Tate incorporated, I was wondering when I was looking, is this just a 4-speed Tate game? Like, it's hard to get him incorporated, so we're just going to make him incorporated.
Right.
And I hope it was more so flow as opposed to let's just force it. If we can start to see a flow and a trend, though, and he's able to get those targets and come in and fill that Aguilar role, which Aguilar only had 1 target this game.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, and if he can tie or get anywhere near where Ertz gets, then that's going to be exciting for everybody that held on to Tate, because that's what you wanted to see.
Yeah, and I was really wondering what is Tate's skill set that he's so much better than Aguilar? Is it drops? Is it reliability? Is it route running? What do you see between these two guys where you're saying, you know what, I can't start Aguilar, but possibly I could start Tate in a similar role going forward?
Well, with the only thing that I like that you would like Aguilar over Tate would be speed. Okay. And speed is only going to get you so far. When you're looking at the Eagles right now, they're looking for dependability, and Aguilar has struggled. And as an Eagles fan, I've seen this. He struggled with drops a lot.
Okay.
And last year he didn't drop it as much, and you thought he was starting to come on, right. And we're getting back to these drops this year. So you're getting a tougher runner with Golden Tate, a veteran there, a guy that's going to make these plays to help out Wentz and get it out quickly. So that just knowing that the Eagles are going to trust in him more is enough for me to be like, okay, I'm going to take Tate because he's going to get way more volume than Aguilar would.
Okay. And so going forward, are you comfortable with no Aguilar? Are you comfortable just like putting him at the same spot where Wendell Smallwood is on the bench or on the
I wouldn't drop Aguilar just yet. Just if I want a piece of this Eagles offense, I'm still going to – if I have both, I'm going to hold on to both. If I have one or the other, I'm going to hold on just because of what I said as far as I want to see if this was a 4-speed Tate game or if this was flow. So if I can see it again next week and see Aguilar with nothing, then I can move forward that way.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's talk about the other side of the ball real quickly about the Giants. I don't have a whole lot on them, but one great thing for anyone who has Saquon Barkley or Shepard or obviously OBJ is that it appears Manning will continue to be the starter there, and hopefully for the end of the season, because obviously he's probably a lot better than the person behind him and gives those players a lot more opportunity and probably better statistics. What I will say, though, is Ingram was a surprise scratch. Did you hear anything about Ingram before the game? Because I think he blanked a lot of people.
Yeah, so before the game, no, I didn't hear anything before the game. Once the game started, it came out that he pulled his hamstring in warm-up before the game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they're not sure how long he's out or how rough the injury is, but he pulled his hamstring before the game.
Wow.
And it didn't get out in time.
Wow. Yeah, it certainly didn't. And I was actually fortunate enough, and sometimes you take it how you get it. Fortunate enough to play against a guy who had Ingram in his lineup, and I didn't hear anything about it certainly before the game, and I know a lot of people didn't. And bam, he was out, gave you 0 points. I mean, that's not much worse than what he's been giving you the last few weeks. But hey, at least that 3 or 4 he gives you helps you out. You never know when you lose by two points or something. All right, man. Do you have anything else on that game?
No, yeah, we can move forward.
Actually, before we jump into the other games, do you mind if we go ahead and do the update segment real quickly?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about some of these updates because I think it might be important to some of the games coming up here. One of the big updates, and I think I called this several weeks back. I told you to go out there and get the backup quarterback for Cincinnati. That's why you have to come and listen. I told you Dalton was going to be done, and don't give me this injury bull crap. They said, you know what? You suck. You're injured. And he's like, no, but coach, I can play. No, you're good. Just sitting down. If I'm going down, Marvin Lewis is probably going for this year. Do you agree, or they're going to keep bringing him back?
He should have. I would hope he should have been gone. So I would hope. Yeah, I think he's out there.
Yeah. He's like, if I'm going down, you're going down with me. You're on IR. So I'm not sure who the backup is there, but I told you to pick him up several weeks ago. You would have had yourself if it's a 2 QB league, you'd have yourself a guy here.
Yeah.
Because in a lot of leagues, you can't find one.
Right. I believe he told them Jeff Driscoll. I believe
there you go.
Who it is.
Yeah. He actually, as I'm thinking about it, he came in and looked pretty decent. He didn't look quite as bad as I thought he would have looked. Tyler Boyd looked good playing with him, and hopefully that can continue. And hopefully we'll see A.J. Green back next game. Also,
right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, as far as Jeff Driscoll goes, the Bengals did go claim Tom Savage off of waivers. So
that's more of a backup to the backup move.
I'm sure they're going to go with Jeff Driscoll, but just be aware.
Absolutely. Another news, Marvin Jones on IR today. Man, that's huge. That is huge news. I mean, what are the Lions going to do? It would have been really, really nice to have a wide receiver averaging 90 receptions per year and close to 1,000 yards per year for the last 4 or 5 years on your squad. It would have been awesome to have one of those. Oh, wait a minute. You traded him to the doggone Eagles. So now Marvin Jones is hurt too. Well, I mean, who's stepping? I know, okay, we're going to talk about him later on, but Bruce Ellington, can he step up and take these targets?
One would hope so. One would hope that the Lions did not just trade away Tate and have no kind of
nothing
plan. Yeah,
wow.
But it looked like that. Even when Jones was healthy, it still was like you don't have that person to fill this hole.
Right.
Like I don't get it. And so they losing him's rough and being out without KJ for however long they're going to be without him. Hopefully he returns this next week, but. Yeah, it's looking, and you would think that, all right, Kenny Galladay time, like let's all get, but and I might be on the outside with this opinion. The volume is obviously gonna go up,
right? Of course,
but I still don't think that you're gonna get the big numbers that you're expecting from him being the only guy there.
Exactly. I mean, it's the same thing as any other sport or any other team. If you can focus the majority of your defense, hey, we're not scared of anybody else on your team right now. We can focus 2 people on our defense to this one guy. I mean, he's going to be limited. He'll still probably get some receptions and all the rest of that great stuff, but if you're expecting 100 yards a game from this guy and a touchdown, you're probably going to be dreaming this a little bit here. But we'll see. I mean, I still think he should be very good. Definitely maybe even wide receiver 1 going forward, but maybe temper expectations just a little bit because defenses will adjust to that. All right. Also, Jack Doyle, man, on IR today. That's huge.
Real quick.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Before we get into Jack Doyle, because I just received breaking news just as we're recording. Leonard Fournette is suspended for 1 game for unsportsmanlike conduct and unnecessary roughness in the game.
Yeah.
So he is out Sunday.
Yeah. We were going to talk about him in just a second when we talk about the Bills and the Jags, but I didn't quite see the game. I didn't see the incident, but when you're the only offensive force on the team, you can't be out there throwing punches, man. I mean,
and he came off the bench. He was on the sideline and came off the sideline to fight. Like, what are you
in high school? What is going on? Oh my goodness. Yeah, you've been out half the year already, and thanks, you just ruined whatever win you may have possibly been able to get next year. I mean next week, which they probably can't even win because we'll get into it when we talk about the game. But now they bench Blake Bortles. He's done. He should have been done. He's kind of in the same realm with Marvin Lewis and the Red Rifle there. Just way too long as a starter there. Hopefully they'll be able to pick something up, and we'll see how Cody Kessler does. But yeah, let's talk about Jack Doyle, man. This is huge news for the Ebron truthers out there, and he's looking like a locked and loaded top 5 tight end for the rest of the way out, man.
Absolutely. You were able to take one more weapon away from getting in your way as an Ebron owner. So that's one less guy that's going to be on the field that you necessarily have to worry about. And, Andrew Luck's already been playing without Doyle, so I don't think that this is going to affect any of the Andrew Luck owners. You guys, he's still going to ball and do well. Also, I think it's, once again, great for T.Y. Hilton. So I go back to what I said a couple episodes ago when I said trade T.Y. because of his focus on the tight ends. Hey, this is opening it right back up for him.
Absolutely. And the one that's nearest and dearest to my heart here, Melvin Gordon, man, went down with a sprained MCL. I actually had this happen to me in college, and in high school, where I was getting tackled. I heard my leg pop, and I just had to lay there on the ground for like 10 minutes. I just couldn't move because, like, what just happened to my knee? Got up and found out that it was a sprained MCL, but you can't run on it. It took me about 2 weeks before I could run and go to the gym and start lifting. 3 weeks before I can call myself being back on the field again, and 4 weeks before I felt like myself. Now, obviously, Melvin Gordon's in the NFL. He has actual trainers that can work on him and all that great stuff. But I'm thinking this is at the very least 2 to 3 weeks, and it's killing me because I'm going to the playoffs with this guy. He's my centerpiece, and it just kills. It probably kills my season because I have nobody to back him up.
Yeah, and we like we say on this show, we don't wish for injury or anything, but I will say this for you guys that maybe didn't hear when we first started. Oli made a trade with me. He got Melvin Gordon.
I did.
When we first started the show, he was really happy about it, as anybody would be. And he was talking a lot and making sure people knew.
Hey, I still have to bring. This is dining. This is not redraft, so I still got him forever.
I just had to mess with you there. I was waiting on that, but Melvin's a beast. Wish the best. Definitely wish quick recovery. I think I saw, which I guess doesn't really mean anything as far as fantasy goes, but I think he'll be back close to the end of regular season, surely before playoffs. But
if I can pull out a bye, here somehow, I may be okay. If we can pull out a bye, he might be back in time for my first game. Still got 2 more in that particular league. I believe we have 2 more games in the regular season, and then playoffs start. So we'll see. All right, man. I don't have anything else for any updates. Do you have anything you want to talk about?
Just some things just to mention, and we can get more in depth Thursday. But Kenyon Drake re-injured his shoulder injury, so that's something to watch. Marlon Mack went out with a concussion last game, and you know how Mack's been dealing with his injury. So just 2 things to kind of monitor as the week goes on.
Absolutely. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the Jags and the Bills. We've already mentioned one huge piece of it, actually 2 huge pieces of it. Leonard Fournette's going to be out for throwing punches, apparently off of the bench. Not quite sure what that's about, like this is hockey or something. Not sure what he's doing. But also the bigger thing, probably the thing that should have happened years ago, and that's Blake Bortles is finally being benched. My question is, how horrible is Cody Kessler that he's had to sit behind Blake Bortles for all this time? Like, what are we expecting out of Cody Kessler, man?
I didn't even look at that because now thinking about that, it's like you had to have been.
Yeah.
If Bortles is going out there at practice throwing 3 picks, you must be throwing 6. Like,
right.
What was keeping you back? Yeah, I don't know what to expect. That whole team has been kind of up and down as far as trying to figure out what to expect on defense. I know you've been right in the middle of that.
Yes. 1 week they play the Steelers hard. I mean, they had like 14 or 15 fantasy points for most of the game. I think the Steelers came back and scored at the end, and they ended up with about 9 or 10. And the next week you get 0 fantasy points to the Bills. To the Bills. Like, I don't know what to do with these guys. The week before that, they got smashed by the Colts. They got -3 points. So, I mean, I've seen a lot of people dropping the Jags defense, and they were number 1 defense coming into the year. I'm still holding out hope because they don't have a bad schedule down in the playoffs here for this year. So I'm holding on to. I think they play Miami. They play another soft team as well, where you could possibly get some fantasy points out of them. But I'm actually scared to roll these guys out. I mean, the Bills. If there was one game that you think, you know what, the Jags are going to be okay, it would have been against the Bills, and they didn't do it. Also, feel free to drop or downgrade every single. If you haven't done it already, downgrade every Jags receiver. Is there one Jags receiver that you would be comfortable even flexing right now?
No, not me. I think there's options unless you're in a 17, 18 team league.
Yeah.
I think there are options somewhere that you should feel way more comfortable starting over anybody on the Jaguars.
You can go out there and start Wendell Smallwood and feel better than the Jags receivers. That's how bad it is right now. The dude that's not getting in the game at all, he has a better shot of falling into the end zone than these Jags receivers, man. I don't know. And maybe Cody Kessler comes out here and surprises us all, but I don't know how bad you have to be to sit behind Blake Bortles when he's been performing this way game after game after game. Man, I don't have much else about the Jags, and not a whole lot about the Bills either. There's not a whole lot to talk about here. But I do want to say this thing. We speak about Cam Newton. We talk about Russell Wilson. We talk about Lamar Jackson now. But your boy Josh Allen has some wheels on him, man. 99 rushes for 99 yards and a touchdown.
Hey, yeah. And we talked earlier. He had that super hurdle over the guy. Josh Allen's trying to show that he can get out here and scramble.
Man, I don't know if you feel comfortable starting him. Probably not. But is he one of those guys where you think, hey, at least I got a safe floor of maybe 10 points off of him rushing per game?
I mean, with things being shaken up the way they are right now at quarterback, and there's not probably any slim, if any, options available as far as waivers, I don't see an issue with picking up a guy that's gonna be running out of the backfield and giving you a safe amount of points. Yeah, I don't see an issue at all there.
Absolutely. All right, man, let's go ahead into the next game and talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers and Denver Broncos. This is go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, real quick, I wanted to ask, especially now, I already had this question because I didn't know if Fournette was going to get suspended or not. But now that we know he is suspended, we saw a lot of Carlos Hyde in the game. TJ Yeldon is still there.
Yeah.
So if you're, for people that held on to Yeldon and maybe got rid of Hyde or what have you, where's the comfortability as far as which one to roll out?
I'm glad you asked that question. I was going to roll Hyde out in my waiver segment, but we'll go ahead and talk about him now. We've seen Hyde, even with the return of Leonard Fournette and the 30 carries and touches he gets per game, they've been getting Hyde involved, 7 to 8 touches per game, somewhere around there. And I can only assume for this one game at the very least that he's going to get a significant workload. I'm not sure if he's going to out-touch Yeldon. If I had the choice between the two, I'm going Yeldon because of his pass catching ability. But Hyde, I would have a hard time seeing him getting anything less than 10 touches this game. And if you're in a really, really tough spot, and some people are, maybe you just lost Melvin Gordon, and if you can pick up Hyde off waivers, because possibly a lot of people, drop him or whatever, he wouldn't be a bad 1 week fill-in. I don't know, what to really expect for him, but I would put it this way, and I'm going to talk about him later as well. I'd feel more comfortable rolling out Hyde than I would with a guy like Rex Burkhead, who was just activated off of IR. Yeah, I would. I feel more comfortable with him than Wendell Smallwood or Corey Clement. He's, to me, maybe a low-end RB3 this week.
Right. No, I agree. I mean, they traded for him for a reason. So, yeah, I'm with you. I like it.
Absolutely. All right, so Pittsburgh and Denver kind of pulled out the upset here, man. I mean, Case Keenum was okay. He looked all right. Philip Lindsay is a little man beast out there.
Yes.
But there is a problem. There is an issue here with Denver. Nothing has worked out for Sutton.
Oh, my gosh, I know it. Oh, remind me.
And he was so hot. As soon as DT, I'm telling you, I could only imagine some of the trades out there. I can only imagine some of the fab spent on him if he was on waivers. But he's given you nothing, and he was supposed to be the person to step up and fill Demaryius Thomas's role. What is happening? Is it a lack of experience? It can't be a lack of opportunity. What's going on?
Yeah, it definitely can't be that. I was looking at this, and I was like, 4 targets with, that it's second. You were second on the team in targets.
Tied for second. Tied for second with a dude named something Lacrosse. I don't know his first name.
Yeah. Yeah, whatever that guy. I don't know what's going on with Sutton, because this is definitely what I preached about it, and I'm not afraid to admit I preached about go get him. I think he's gonna end up being better than, I can't remember, there's a couple of guys that I would take that statement back now, but and you can't even say that he was getting shadowed or Joe Hayden this or whatever, because that was Emmanuel Sanders and he had himself a day.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is with Cortland, and I hope he can figure it out, whether it's him, it's the Broncos, or what have you.
Do you think that now? I didn't get a chance to watch him in the last couple of weeks here. I flip between one game to the next, and I don't get a chance to watch a whole lot of the Broncos. Has he moved to the outside? Is that where he is now, or is he in the slot? Have they moved him around to where he's not comfortable anymore? Are you seeing that kind of a thing, or?
From what I've seen, when I do catch a couple of glimpses of the Broncos, he is on the outside. Mm-hmm. I see Sanders moved around a lot more than I see Sutton.
That's what I was thinking.
Usually exactly wherever he's going to be, that's where he is majority of the game. He's been mainly outside still.
Okay, all right, good deal. Do you have anything else on Denver?
No, sir.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about Pittsburgh real quick, because we have another problem.
Yeah.
Have another problem here. Ever since Le'Veon Bell said, you know what, I'm passing the sticks, I'm not coming back, I don't know if your boy has done a whole lot with the sticks, man. James Conner has not had himself a beastly game since. I mean, did he say, you know what, now Bell's not coming back, I can kind of put my flip-flops on and chill out, the job is mine, or what's going on?
You guys are now stuck with me. I was waiting on this. Now there's no threat. So, look, it's me or nothing. I don't care. I think, we've kind of seen, it's unfortunate it's happened back-to-back games, because it happened twice before in the season where James Conner didn't give you the outrageous, outlandish games, and it turned into just script. It was script-based, and you could argue that was the case this game. I mean, the Broncos, say what you may, they still have that defense, and Von Miller and Chubb and those guys are still beasts. So it could just be the scripted, kind of got scripted out. He had 13 carries, so 15, 16 carries around in there. you expect around what I think he's been getting on his huge games. He's getting around 22, 23 carries.
Yeah.
But you can't be mad at 13 or 16 carries. If you are mad, talk to an Aaron Jones owner.
You got one right here. Just thankfully, Aaron Jones knows how to turn those 13 into a couple of touchdowns.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. But moving forward, I think he has a great opportunity against the Chargers next week to, get him back into the flow of things there. Right. And so I'm hoping it's not one of those I pulled your leg or whatever the saying is. I hope he gets back going.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have a whole lot more about this game. There is one thing that I want to say though. Antonio Brown, without a shadow of a doubt, there's not a doubt in my mind that he hates Juju. He hates Juju. He sees him with 17 targets, and he's like, man, I cannot stand him. I'm putting something in his oatmeal. I mean, I know he does not like being second fiddle. Juju Smith had 13 receptions, 189 receiving yards, and a touchdown. And Antonio Brown is over there seething. I promise you everything I know. He hates Juju. He can't wait.
And the crazy thing is you've got him. He's over there upset about it, but he still had 9 catches on 13 targets, so he was still good. But he's still like, no. I need those 17. Wow.
Yeah, I'm gonna need that 189 over there, man. What is going on, man? Juju is a beast. He has to be.
Love me some Juju.
He wasn't a surprise because everybody he had a good season last year, but he was thinking he can't come back and have the same kind of a year he had last year. Just too efficient, whatever, blah blah blah. He has blossomed. To me, they have 2 wide receiver ones on that team.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I agree. I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah, he's a top 2 or 3 round pick next year. He was top 4 this year. He's moved himself into the top couple of rounds next year if you're in redraft. In Dynasty, you probably can't even get him. Good deal. Anything else on Pittsburgh, man?
No, sir. All
right.
Oh, well, wait. I did want to talk about, and I think we've mentioned them, but I think he needs to be not dived into or dissected, but Ryan Switzer.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he gives you 6 receptions for 67 yards. That's a 12-point game, and that's easily a quick flex, especially when you are talking about a high-powered Pittsburgh Steelers offense. If you're looking for a waiver pick, which we'll get into that later, but that's just somebody he's been fairly consistent, and he's been in a lot. That's another thing I noticed. I've seen him on the field a lot. So yeah.
He's very quick. He's one of those Julian Edelman, Amendola kind of receivers, and they also use him in the backfield to carry the ball a little bit as well. I see them incorporating him a little bit more, but he's still not quite consistent enough for me. Last week he only had a few carries. They didn't use. I'm sorry, only had a few targets. I don't think they used him in the running game at all. He's up and down. He's one of those long shot plays you can maybe sit on your bench, or if you're in a real tough jam, perhaps you can throw him in there, but. He's not consistent enough for me to be comfortable with him in the lineup. But yeah, certainly someone to watch to see how they continue to develop him in that offense. But I'm not sure if there is any room for anybody else when Juju's getting 17 targets and Antonio Brown's getting 13. And Antonio Brown has a voodoo doll in his locker. I promise you, has Juju's name on it. He cannot stand him. I promise you that. You and your 17 targets. Take this to the eye. All right. Anyway, man, let's go ahead and talk about Green Bay and the Vikings. And Kirk Cousins, he owns Green Bay this year. He owns them. 767 yards passing in the last 2 games and 7 touchdowns.
Wow.
If he can only play Green Bay every week, he'd basically be Patrick Mahomes. That's the kind of season he will be having.
That is what you call analysis. That was fantastic.
Absolutely.
I wish we could get that on a soundbite. So I love that I just heard you say that. That was great.
I mean, it makes me think about how awesome Patrick Mahomes is doing this year. If someone could just have 700 yards passing every 2 games and 7 touchdowns, they'll be doing almost as good as he is. I mean, the dude is just outlandish phenomenal. But neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and talk about this game. Yeah, man, he had a great game against those guys. If you stuck with Kirk Cousins and played him against Green Bay, I don't know how the rest of the season is going to pan out because, again, he's only had these kinds of games against Green Bay. But certainly he paid off for you last week. Dalvin Cook, though, if you don't have anything else on that, Dalvin Cook, I mean, he kind of salvaged his day with a nice catch and run and touchdown, but still just not quite as efficient. I don't know. He's not being used the way you would like. What are you seeing? What are you thinking about Dalvin, man?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out. That's 2 weeks in a row that he has salvaged his day. Last week he had a long run that made his points look better. This week he was able to get in the end zone. He had one less carry than Latavius Murray. They're both running hard, so you can't really decipher between those. The only thing that Dalvin has right now is he's being used, they're throwing to him and not really throwing to Murray, but he's not putting up these RB1 numbers, which is the reason you drafted, kept him, maybe traded for him when he was going through whatever.
Right. Absolutely. I tried to get him one time. I'm not even a Dalvin Cook fan, but I'm like, if you can get him on the cheap, I want him. And I'm glad I didn't because he burned you for 3 or 4 games.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's unfortunate to see, and to be honest, looking at it is surprising to me because when I was watching the game last night, the few runs that I saw him have, he was running so hard and breaking these tackles. I thought he had more than 29 yards personally.
It seemed like it for a little
right,
bit.
yeah. Murray's getting in too much is the issue. He's on the field too much for a Cook owner at this point. And Kirk Cousins is playing too well. That's another thing. He's playing too good. The receivers are playing too good as well. So you got to hold on to Cook because you held on to him. You just got to hope that he's gonna explode here eventually.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have a whole lot else about the Vikings. Obviously, the passing game was on fire. Thielen had another 125-yard game. I will say this. They showed a graphic last night where the great Randy Moss in his seasons in Minnesota only had 2 seasons where he had 8 100-yard games or less. 8 100-yard games. Thielen is tied with him right now with 8.
Yeah.
That's insane. You think about how incredible Randy Moss was, and it looks like Thielen was going to blow him out of the water this year, maybe with 9 or 10 100-yard games, if not more, man. So, man, hats off to Thielen in the year he's having. Let me ask this question here, man, because this is chapping a lot of people's behinds. You're going to call him ESB or MVS? I mean, MVS gave you nothing again, and I'm so glad I set him on the bench. I mean, what are we doing with these two guys? Because ESB looks like he stepped into the role that you thought Scantling was going to step into.
Right, yeah. I have no idea because I got onto MVS late. When I got on the MVS was, and guys, this might be my fault. Because I got on the MVS last week not last week, 2 weeks ago when he had the one catch or the 3 targets at like the end of the game, whatever week that was. So then, I got rid of him, and now ESB is emerging. I have no idea which way to go, and it's again, it doesn't look like Aaron Rodgers looks when you watch the game. I was paying attention where MVS was lining up when I had him. And it just doesn't look like he's even looking towards MVS at all. It's almost like I'm going to throw to Devontae Adams, or I'm going to throw it in the ground, or I'm going to take this sack, or like I got to get Devontae Adams. These other guys, I got to
get my sack numbers up, man. I like that opposed to throwing the ball to MVS. Yeah, I don't know what's happened there, man. I mean, he was I got him. He had a couple of really good games, and I was really excited about him going forward, especially in the Dynasty League, thinking, what can he be with a real full year under his belt and another training camp coming into next year with Aaron Rodgers? Man, he could finally be that number two, that second guy, and now, they're back to rolling again. And now I'm not sure who it is. I'm not quite sure who to call it in the rest of the season. I'm still going to give it to MVS by a slight margin because ESB, I can't say his name, I'm sorry, folks. ESB hasn't had a game like MVS. MVS has shown the propensity to be able to have, 6 or 7 receptions and a couple of touchdowns. He shows he has that with Aaron. ESB has it, but the targets right now are going to ESB, so it has to be infuriating. I don't know. I will say this, though. I absolutely love Aaron Jones. I love this dude, man. I mean, I'm so glad that he's taking over that backfield. I'm so glad they're giving him. Now, they still took him out in the last 2 minutes of the game. I'm thinking it is simply because they had to throw the ball and because possibly Jamal Williams is slightly better in pass blocking, but he owned the majority of the game, and he, even against this tough Vikings run defense, still had a decent output, had a touchdown. I think he had 70-something yards and a few receptions. So, man, I just think the sky is the limit for Aaron.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I love it, and then this is what we've been wanting all season. We were waiting on McCarthy and the rest of the Packers coaching staff to catch on and understand that this is the best player in that backfield, and they figured it out, and it's showing. And he's running hard, and he's looking really good.
Absolutely. What do you see for him rest of season here? I mean, solid RB1, top 5 even. What do you think for him? Because, I mean, he played one of the tougher run defenses and showed that he can still do it.
Yeah, definitely a solid RB1. They've got the Cardinals next week, the Falcons. They run up against the Bears. Then they got the Jets, Lions. So I love Aaron Jones' schedule.
Everything except for the Bears.
Everything except for those Chicago boys.
Now, if he does it against Chicago, I don't know, man.
if he does it against Chicago, then Mike and them have just been waiting way too long to root. Definitely RB1 numbers rest of the season for me. I think he's going to be fantastic, and the matchups are going to help him as well.
Absolutely. All right, my friend, let's go ahead. We're running up on time here. We're going to go ahead and run through the next one here. Do the Thursday night preview, which is the Saints versus the Dallas Cowboys. I'm sure you're happy to see this.
So excited.
Last week, it felt like the Atlanta Falcons were just being lambs led to the slaughter. The score was a lot closer than the game actually was. I knew the Vegas line, I think, had them up by a 6-point favorite. I knew it was going to be a multi-score win for them. However, I'm not getting that same vibe and feeling here about Dallas. They have a solid enough defense. It feels like the offense is coming on. I feel like the Saints are going to win, but I don't think this is going to be a blowout, man. How do you feel about this game?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a blowout either. And it's mainly because, like you said, the Cowboys defense is not terrible at all. I mean, they're pretty solid this year. The pass rush is pretty good. And even with the Saints' high-powered offense, I think what's going to make this game close is the fact that the Cowboys just have the ball so long on offense. That's just how they play. They keep their defense for so many years has been their offense. We're going to stay on the field, and we're not going to let you guys come on and just exploit our defense. So I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people think. And that's nothing to say, man, the Cowboys are good this year. Nothing like that. It's just scheme. It's what they do.
You just can't say it.
I will not say it. I would never say it.
They won the Super Bowl. Oh, they were all right.
Look, there was a lot of stuff going on for them to get there. I don't want to hear.
That's funny.
Yeah, nah. I think, I'm on the same boat as you. The Saints will win this game. I think they'll still get your points from the guys you expected to get your points from. I think this is the Alvin Kamara game, in my opinion. Okay. The Cowboys D-line is pretty good. Like I said, it's a pass rushing D-line, so Mark Ingram may be able to exploit some of that, but I am looking to Kamara. If I have both of them, then I'm obviously rolling both of them out, but I'm more excited about Kamara in this situation.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I'm glad you mentioned something. You mentioned that this should be a game where the usual suspects get their points. Well, on Thanksgiving I was traveling. I was actually going from one place to another. We were visiting some family, and I was actually was playing several Saints players. I had Michael Thomas I was up against in a couple of leagues, and I was up against Ingram in a couple of leagues. And to my surprise, when because I just knew I seen Drew Brees at 4 touchdowns, I just got destroyed, right? No, man, he didn't pass the ball to any of his guys, man. It was like, who is this dude catching the touchdown? I was so happy. Lewis and Arnold and whoever else he threw the ball to. I mean, it was the weirdest game.
From what I understand, it was Thanksgiving, and Drew Brees said, guys,
he's gonna spread it around a little bit,
right? Yeah, there's some guys on the team that have family members watching on this special occasion. I'm gonna get it to them a little.
Yeah, it's like senior night in high school. We're gonna get the seniors that never get to play in. You haven't played for 4 years. We're gonna throw you a bone on senior night. I mean, 4 touchdowns, and not Ingram, not Thomas, not Kamara, none of these guys. Not Watson.
Yeah.
It was just these no-name, and I was so happy, man, because it actually put me in a position where I can actually possibly win tonight. I just knew when I seen Ingram and Thomas up against me, and I had Gurley on by. I also have Woods on by. AJ's hurt. I'm like, I'm going to get destroyed. Well, I'm within 16 points, and possibly Tajay Sharp can pull it out for me. We'll see. But I should have been blown out this week, man. I'm so shocked about that game. But anyway, do you have anything?
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Yeah. Sometimes, that's fantasy for you. Sometimes it is lucky.
Yeah.
All right, man. Let's go ahead and move along for time's sake. We got 2 more segments. We're going to go ahead and do the what the hecks of the week, and then we'll do a quick waiver wire. I'll let you start the what the heck off.
Yeah, my first one, you actually sniped it in the last segment.
Okay.
Drew Brees.
Like
seriously, who are these guys? I would like to know their names. I still don't know their names. That was my because I have Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara on one of my teams, and I was looking at I didn't even check the fantasy points when I was watching the game because I was eating, and I would check in and look at the score. I'd be like, oh my God,
what's happening?
This is fantastic.
Yeah.
And then I see Kamara with 10 and Ingram with 8, and I'm like, wait a minute. what is this?
Is this some kind of a typo? Like, I mean, how does neither one of them have any points? Yeah. No, it was a strange game for Drew, but I certainly think those guys will bounce back, and you'll be just fine. My first what the heck here is Washington Redskins defense. I mean, did Amari Cooper have like butter and what was going on? Did he douse himself in baby oil? I mean, he was just slipping off of defenders, man.
Yeah.
That last touchdown was stupid. He had 2 people right there to tackle him. Neither one of them wanted to touch him, and he ran for like 90 yards for a touchdown. That was and Washington has been the staple. So the defense of Washington has been their strong point all season long. I was really surprised to see them let Cooper go off like that, man.
Yeah, I was surprised and upset, and my stomach was hurting, and I'm not okay with it either. Especially that. I mean, and I think that touchdown put them up 31-14, I do believe. But It was a little slant route that, like you said, a couple of guys a force field was around them, and they were afraid of what he said before the game. I don't know, but that was unfortunate to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
My next one is actually a good one. Christian McCaffrey.
You sniped me. Oh, you sniped me. Oh, you got me. Right in the eye.
There it is.
Oh.
Yeah, I see you. I see you walking out. I had to get you. CMC, we get it.
You're the man.
You're good. We understand. You can calm down a tad bit. I believe he had 40 fantasy points this week.
Oh, man.
Outrageous.
Yeah, 237 yards from scrimmage. Insane.
Oh,
I mean, he was the only person on the field. And actually, DJ Moore still got off a little bit and had a decent day. But Oh my gosh, yeah. CMC had himself a phenomenal day. He did actually have a really strange stat: 3 fumbles though. No, he didn't lose any of them, but he did have 3 fumbles on the day. It's crazy.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, insane. But yeah, 237 yards from scrimmage. I'm not even sure how many touchdowns. Yeah, he is having a year, and I really wish I had drafted him. Yeah, that he might be on one of the upcoming regrets segments. My next one here is the Chargers. The Chargers coaching staff. Get my man Gordon out. You don't need him in the game. Get my man Gordon out of the game after his second touchdown. Okay, Gordon, you got your 2 touchdowns. You're looking good. Your fantasy owners are happy. You're happy. We don't need you anymore. Why is he still playing and he already has a hurt leg?
All right.
He almost didn't play because of the knee.
Yeah. You guys said it at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
It was an issue.
No, I'm glad he played. You got to play him. He says, hey, I'm good, but I mean, after a little while, you don't need him in the game. Why are you now you're trying to make the playoffs and you don't have your juggernaut?
Right.
Thank you. And neither do I. Appreciate it. All right, man. Who do you got?
It's more than just you guys.
Yeah, think about everybody. Stop being selfish.
Yeah, my next guy is, I just wanted to see if anybody has any contact with Jarvis Landry, and if you guys can ask him if he enjoys playing football, or if he likes being on the field, if he likes the Browns. Any of these questions, I just would like to know, because the targets have left my man. They're not there anymore, which is the reason I was so excited to even grab them. And it's just not looking. The Browns' offense is looking great.
Without him,
leaving Jarvis.
Yeah. No, I'm in the same boat. I have him on one of my fantasy squads, and I think he had 5 targets, which is it's not pedestrian. It's still an okay day for targets, but he's just not turning into anything for him. And I gave him the benefit of the doubt this week. I left him on the bench for a guy that I'm going to talk about here in a little while, and it won't happen again. He's going to have to show me a couple games in a row before he gets back in my lineup. He's no longer even a wide receiver 2. Yes.
Definitely. I
flex.
was trying to sit him for Traquan Smith, and it came out like an hour before.
Oh, yeah.
The Saints were actually able to come out before the game and announce
let someone know that he's not going to play right. Unlike the Giants, right? Absolutely. No. Yeah. So he's definitely taking a huge hit here, and I'm not sure if it's a new offensive coordinator or whatever, but he may actually need a change of scenery next year. Might be another trade coming up. My third one, I have 2 more, and we'll have to run through them. But my next one is Larry Fitzgerald. He is the anti-Julio here. He's saying, you know what? I'm kind of old now. I don't feel like doing all the stuff. Anytime I catch a pass, boom, it's a touchdown. 3 touchdowns on 4 receptions in the last 2 games. How does that happen?
Don't even look my way.
No.
You see the touchdown right there. I'm not trying to get first downs.
Right.
I'm not trying to do all that.
Spend all that energy. Unless I'm catching touchdowns, don't throw me the ball. Let DJ have it. I'm good.
Yeah, man. That's great.
All right, you got any more now?
Yeah, my last one was Gus Edwards. I just wanted to say, I appreciated your game.
Yeah.
Would have liked a touchdown.
Yeah, let's get a tutty.
Just one.
Yeah.
Just one.
Come on. 117 rushing, was it 117?
Yeah, and like 22 carries. So of those, just one you could have, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We can hook you up with Julio if you need to.
Well, I think
you had the coordinates last week, so, I don't know.
Yeah, they can start a club together. Where's the coordinates? No, I think he's going to be hurt a little bit by Jackson. He was running the building. Yeah. They will probably like to bootleg him out and run some of those options with Jackson, and so he may be hurt by that. I think though, if Flacco comes back, you see him in the end zone a lot more because he'll get those goal line runs or 5 yards and then all the rest of that great stuff. Really, the big question is going to be what happens with Collins. I really wish they would have gave that dude obviously because I like him a chance to get 20 touches a game. I really wish they would have given him a couple of games just to kind of see what that would look like. But I don't know what it is about him. Perhaps the fumbling. I don't know, but they didn't. I don't think they really gave him a fair shake this year to show that he could have been the man. But it's okay. His downfall is someone else's opportunity, and Gus took the bull by the horns. All right, man. My last one, and I appreciate. I'm gonna say thank you for not sniping me here because we both could have talked about this, and this will be very, very like I'm gonna try very, very like my last time talking about this. But what the heck, Adam Gase? I'm sorry, Adam.
Oh.
What the heck, Adam? Like, what? Look, I said Kenyon Drake. I got it. I finally got it. I got it through my thick skull. It's not his backfield. It's Frank Gore's backfield. I started Frank Gore. I sat Kenyon Drake just like you told me to, basically. And now Kenyon Drake goes off. Now you're giving this man touches. What are you doing to me? Kenyon Drake had 20. This is what I was talking about earlier. This is the reason why I have to count on Tajay Sharp tonight, because I sat Kenyon Drake. Now, I would have played Kenyon Drake in his spot, and I would have won my week by 10 points. But now, because Gase, he tricked me. I'm not sure if he doesn't want fan. I don't know what he wants to give Frank. Frank Gore is 72 years old. Okay? Now, don't get me wrong. In real life, he's like 36, something like that. I mean, I'm just about the same age as he is. But in football running back years, he's 72 years old. He gets up at 4:30 in the morning, puts on his trousers and his suspenders, gets in his Oldsmobile Cutlass, goes down to Shoney's for his $2.99 Sunrise Senior Breakfast Special, and drinks his prune juice. That's how old he is in football running back years, and you will not give Drake the ball unless I bench him.
Right.
Thank you, Adam Gase. What the heck? All right, man.
I actually was looking at that too, and I was like, I am so sick of talking about Adam.
I mean,
I'm just not gonna go with the obvious here.
I appreciate you giving me a chance to go ahead and vent. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some very spry and very energetic 72-year-olds. I'm not saying anything about old people. And trust me, when I get that age, I want my senior sunrise breakfast. Who can turn down 2 eggs, 2 hash browns, 2 pieces of bacon, and your choice of toaster or waffles? I want it too. But he shouldn't be running the ball 20 times a game, man. Come on. Give me a break, Adam. Oh, now I'm about to change your name. It's not even Adam anymore. It's Little Buddy. Little dude.
Little Buddy.
Little Buddy. Golly. All right, man. Let's go ahead and run past this. Let's go ahead and talk about the waivers real quick. We've been running a little bit past an hour, and the game is on in about 20 minutes. You start off. What the heck? I'll start off the waivers. This is probably pretty obvious, but I actually been talking about this guy for a couple of weeks now. Bruce Ellington. He may turn out I can't say a league winner. I'm not going to go that far, but with Marvin Jones going down, he was already getting 6 or 7 targets a game. That may go up to 8 or 9, 10 targets a game, and with that kind of opportunity and the role that he's filling now, hopefully they don't move him outside to keep him in a slot. But the role he's filling, that Golden Tate role, you may see him getting 7 targets, 80 yards a game, and maybe a touchdown here or there. So he can be really solid for your squad going forward.
Yeah, definitely. If he can come through fruition, that's going to be something awesome to see there. My guy is Austin Eckler. You might have him on some waivers, hopefully. If people didn't hold on to him, I think he had a lot of people tilting when he wasn't doing so well anymore.
He's a
so I think you can take a look at him. Right, yeah, I think you can look at him and maybe Justin Jackson.
Yeah.
Justin Jackson got in a lot this last game, and we saw Austin Eckler in the London game when they didn't have Melvin, and he didn't do fantastic or really what you were hoping. So either one of those guys, you might want to take a look at it and see who the Chargers might be rolling with.
Yeah. I was actually hoping to get Justin Jackson off of waivers in the league that I have, Melvin Gordon, and he was on waivers for quite some time. I think someone picked him up, and he hadn't been getting anything. So I'm really surprised he was on someone's squad. But yeah, I think the game was out of hand. That's the reason why you're seeing a little bit more of Justin Jackson. But you never quite know.
Yeah.
You never quite know if they're going to give him a shot. So he would have been great to have as a backup since I couldn't get Eckler. I was trying to trade for him, but no one would let him go. So yeah, Eckler's a must add this week. Speaking of, let me roll right into my other waiver. Thankfully, and I'm not sure how this is going to work out for me. It may not work out for me because he wasn't quite getting the run that I thought he would this year. But they just activated, once again, Burkhead off of waivers. Off of IR, and he is on that same team where I have Melvin Gordon. So I have a shot. If they look, this is cue the slow music. Hey, Billy. Hey, Belichick. Please do me a favor. Give this dude 10 touches a game. I know Sony's the new hotness. I know he's the new toy. But please, let my man Burkhead get 5 or 6, 7 carries a game and a couple of receptions, and you'll do me real nice while Melvin's out. I'm trying to win a championship here. Do me a favor. I appreciate it, Billy. Thanks, man.
Yeah, just help me out, please.
Help me out.
Listen, PSA, give me a little help here.
Give me a hand. Absolutely. All right, man. Who else you got?
Yeah, I think I hate to keep coming back to this guy, but if he's available, I think you take a look at Chris Godwin. He's only,
okay.
And the reason I say Deshaun Jackson is being looked at for his hand, I don't know how serious the injury is.
Yeah.
If he does not roll out, or if they don't roll him out, I think you can get not a reliable guy. Chris Godwin's definitely your up and down player, but hopefully you can get him on an up week. So maybe you can take a look at him in that Buccaneers offense.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. I think he's a second year player, so not quite a rookie, but he was in that class of people you're talking about, Sutton and DJ Moore, Chris Godwin this year. It's kind of a question of which one of these guys do you want to have on your team. He's had his games, he's had his ups and downs. Yeah, I mean, if he's there and you got a spot, why not? But you're never gonna know when to play him. But do you know who you can play on a weekly basis? A guy on the same team as him, a guy that's probably on waivers right now, the guys that I've been pumping up for the last 3 or 4 weeks, Adam Humphries. My man had another game. He had another game. I told you. Listen, guys, come listen to the show. We're giving you gold on here. I told you Adam Humphries a few weeks ago when your boy came back, Jameis Winston, he was going to start being fantasy relevant. He may not be an every week start for you, but if you need 10 points in your flex, Adam Humphries is the guy that you can stick in there. And as a matter of fact, he will be the guy that I'm sticking in there in place of Jarvis Landry. Think how far Jarvis Landry has fallen where I'm putting him on the bench for Adam Humphries and his maybe 10 to 14 points per week. But, yeah, he looked great. He had 6 targets, 6 receptions, 54 yards, and a touchdown this past week and the week before that. If I could pull this up real quickly, I forgot exactly what it was, but he had another decent game. 3 receptions, 60 yards, and a touchdown. So he's giving you 10 plus fantasy points pretty much every week here. Adam Humphries, go get the man.
Yeah, no, I like it. I will kind of renege my my Chris Godwin. I do. I like with Winston back there. Yeah, I think I like Humphries a little more. My last guy is going to be Taylor Gabriel.
Okay.
And especially with Trubisky should be coming back next week, and even if he doesn't, Taylor Gabriel's had 7 receptions each in the last 2 games. He hasn't been able to fall into the end zone, but he's a touchdown away from 20 points in both weeks. So definitely got to look at, especially if you are one of the guys that are, just lost Marvin Jones. If you're dropping Jaguars receivers or what have you, somewhere to look.
Absolutely. My last guy, and we've already talked about him, ESB. You have to watch the situation and see what happens. If he is now taking over the number 2 role in that offense, you could possibly want him. Again, he hasn't had an explosion, but he's getting targets. He's getting the opportunity. And if this is if now Aaron Rodgers has gotten more comfortable with ESB than he has MVS. We have all these syllables in abbreviations, but ESB than he is with MVS. He could be someone. I don't know how comfortable I am with him being some kind of a starter. But again, if you're in a tough spot, you can't find anybody, he's getting looks from Aaron Rodgers. And if you're getting looks from the great one, why not? Absolutely.
Definitely.
All right. Well, it sounds like that will wrap up our show for this evening. Again, I want to thank you guys for coming back and supporting us. Once again, please like the video, subscribe, and comment. We are looking for that question of the week. We want to hear what you guys want to hear on here. We want to play that music, so please answer that question. And also, visit us on Instagram. We will be there a lot. That is Average Joe's Fantasy Football _ between each word. As always, if you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Dave, do you have anything else for the people before we leave tonight?
Enjoy your week and enjoy your football.
Absolutely. We're signing off. Have a good night.